What we're going to do in this episode is to change the program we created on the last one, where we can move this circle, and when we click and hold the mouse, it's growing, and when we release the mouse, it comes back to the default size. I want that when I release the mouse, the circle stays there on the screen. So this way I can draw circles by releasing the mouse in different places. How are we going to achieve this? Processing is erasing continuously the screen. Right before drawing the ellipse, it's erasing the screen with the image we loaded from the disk. If we want to keep some circles on the screen, what we have to do is modify this background image. And let me explain how we are going to do this. If this is the screen of our program, the display of our program, which is 500 pixels wide and 400 pixels tall, what we see in the processing window is a collection of pixels. We have there lots of pixels. Actually, we have 20,000, which is 500 times 400. But this is not the only collection of pixels we are working with. When the program starts, we are loading an image called Big PNG, which is also a collection of pixels. And it has exactly the same size as our program window. So we have here another image called big.png, which we loaded from the disk, and which has the same size, 500 pixels, 400 pixels. So it's also a collection of 20,000 pixels. Now let's think what happens when we press the mouse and hold the mouse button. We have this circle that is growing. And at some point, we release the mouse button. What we should do at this exact moment is take a copy of this image. We are going to copy this image into the background image. We don't need to save it to the disk. We are not gonna touch this big PNG. We already have the big PNG image stored in a variable called back image. It's up here. That's where we have a copy of the image. So what we can do is, by writing two instructions in processing, we make a copy of our processing window and we store it in our back image variable. And suddenly this back image variable has also a circle here. So what happens now when we are drawing time after time back image? It contains already a circle. And then we can keep moving our mouse and we will have this other circle, but that one is not gonna get erased. And then if we click, it will start growing again. And at some point we release the mouse, and then again we take a photograph of this picture. We make a copy of the image. So suddenly now back image has also a circle here. So these shapes will stay there in back image and will be drawn time after time, like 60 times per second, into our processing display. Then how do we achieve this? We have to type here load pixels first. And then what we do is type here back image.pixels is pixels. Let's make it run, and then let's try to understand what is happening. Okay, for now everything is equal. Now I start clicking here, and when I release the mouse, it's exactly as if I had taken a photograph of the image, but now I can keep drawing more circles. And every time I release the mouse, a new circle is there stuck on the background. So why is this working? Let's have a look at what it says about load pixels in the reference. Load pixels. It says here it loads the pixel data for the display window into the pixels array. So there is a thing called the pixels array. Pixels is a variable. In the moment you call this function load pixels, what processing is doing is copying every single pixel from the screen into this variable here called pixels. It's an array, and it's an array with 20,000 elements in this case. So we could access pixels 0 and pixels 1, pixels 2. Those are every single pixel from our image up to 19,999. So this pixels array is like a recipe for our display. It contains all the information of how to draw whatever we have currently on the screen. But it happens that not only our display, this is our display, not only our display has a collection of pixels, but also our back image has a collection of pixels. So what I do here in the next line is saying that the pixels from my back image should be equal to the pixels of my display. So I'm basically copying all the data from whatever is on the screen into the pixels from the back image. It's very similar to saving the image, but I'm saving it into a variable. I'm not saving it to the hard drive of the computer. Later, every time I call background and I send this parameter, back image, what I'm doing is actually the opposite. I'm drawing back image many times, 60 times per second, into our display. So this line here is restoring 60 times per second whatever image I had saved into back image, and then on top I draw a circle. This circle disappears every time draw is called, because I again erase the whole screen and then I draw an ellipse, then I erase the whole screen, then I draw an ellipse. But only when I release the mouse, only in this moment, I'm modifying back image. I'm storing my circle there. This feature could be used to create a drawing program. Imagine now that we have here a circle. We could be reading the keyboard. Maybe when we pressed R, we switch into rectangle mode. When we press C, it's a circle. When we press T, it's text. And then we can just move the object around, and then we find a good position for our object, and we click and it stays there. But it's not only useful for creating a drawing program, and in the next episode we will find one of those different uses for this feature.